Thanks, Bishop, for taking the time out of your busy day to answer these questions. The kids have asked some pretty tricky questions. I hope you're up for it.
Thanks very much, Monsignor. I'd like to say thank you to all the children that sent in some questions. Some of them were easy, a lot of them were hard. Well, Bishop had to put on his thinking cap here. So hopefully I'll be able to answer your questions really, really well.
Bishop, have you ever seen God in a vision? And if so, how many times?
That's a really good question, Dan. I've got to say that God's never actually appeared to me like in a vision, like standing in front of me, talking to me. But he has done that to some people, especially the saints. See, God communicates to people in different ways, which is really cool. Not everyone's the same. So God can communicate through visions or dreams. You might remember he spoke to St. Joseph in a dream, told Joseph what to do. He often speaks in dreams, and I've had a few dreams like that, and I take that as God talking to me in my dreams. I have had a little almost vision, not a vision that I could see, but I've heard Mary talk to me in a very special part of my life. I just heard a voice that I recognised as Mary speaking to me inside of me and helping me and giving me encouragement. So yeah. So God can talk many different ways, visions, dreams, sometimes through other people might say something. And it might be an answer to a problem that you had. And someone else comes up with a great bit of wisdom and solution. God can talk to other people as well. Thanks for that one. That was a cracker. That one made me think.
The kids want to know, why do you wear the purple cap and what does it mean?
Another good question. This little cap, my little purple cap, that some people reckon looks a bit pink, but it's actually sort of type of purple, is called a zucchetto. And having this colour means I'm a bishop. If I wore a red one, it would mean I'm a cardinal. So it helps identify who I am. If I didn't have one on, well, I'd just be normal Father Columba, normal priest. So you can spot a bishop if he's got one of these on this colour on his head. And it also means that in the Old Testament times, the Jewish people wore something on their head to show that they stopped there and God started above them. So it made them a bit humble. Like, it means that, God's up there, you finished there, mate. So that's one of the reasons that bishops and cardinals and others wear, and even the Pope wears a white one. That's why we wear these funny little hats.
The kids want to know, the bread that you use in Mass, where does it come from?
The bread that we use at Mass, as you can tell, is just not the normal stuff you get down at the baker or at the supermarket, those little round ones like that, because it's unleavened. It doesn't have yeast in it, that's why it's flat and squashy. We get them from special people who make them. And we get ours in this diocese from a group of monks that live in a monastery, and that's what they do. They make those breads for churches, and that's how they get money in to support themselves.
This might be a tricky one now, but what is the furthest that you have travelled to say Mass?
I travel all over the diocese to see people. So everywhere. Tibooburra, I can go 10 hours to go to the cathedral in Broken Hills, 9 hours drive. Sometimes it's further. So depends where the people are in my diocese. I will travel anywhere in the diocese of Wilcannia-Forbes to visit people.
What would you have done if you didn't become a bishop?
Wow. Well, if I didn't become a bishop, I'd just still be a priest. I'd be Father Columba, and I would be living in my little monastery with the other monks, all dressed like me, because I'm dressed as a monk, in my little monastery, looking after a beautiful garden and looking after people coming to the church. I would just be Father Columba. I'd still be a priest, even if it wasn't a bishop.
Now, Bishop, try not to pick favours here, but who was or who is your favourite priest?
Okay, my favourite priest was a Polish priest called Father Augustine. And he was the boss of the Order of St. Paul I Hermit, the order that I belonged to, the monastery that I belonged to. And he was such a holy man, was so good, he inspired me that so much that I actually joined the monastery because of his inspiration. So it's good to have people you look up to and you want to actually be like them. So Father Augustine was the one for me.
So Bishop Columba, can you tell me, what are the type of things that you do as a bishop? What does a day or a week or a month look like for you?
Wow, what do I do as a bishop? Well, the best way to actually explain it is if you think of your school and you think of your principal of your school, the principal is there to look after the whole school and to be an inspiration to the other teachers in the school. And she's got to go to meetings, and the principal can make sure there's power and electricity going on in your school and look after you all. Well, bishop's a bit like that, but not just in the school, but in the whole diocese. So all the schools, the 18 schools in the diocese, and then all the parishes. So I have to be an example to all the priests in the diocese. I have to look after them, and I have to be an example to everybody in the diocese. So sometimes I have to look most like a principal and make some rules here and there to keep everyone safe. And so everyone finds it easier to love Jesus. So I have to do that. And I've got a lot of meetings, and I go around and do masses in various parishes and various schools and visits. You've all had visits from me. I get around the diocese. So I'm there to try and inspire people to love Jesus more.
What is your favourite achievement in your religious career so far?
Well, I'll let you in on my favourite achievement and my special time as a bishop. You get to actually meet the Pope. Yep. And you get to actually talk to the Pope, just you and the Pope. And that's pretty special. Not many people get to do that. I was so excited the first time I met Pope St. John Paul II, and I had breakfast with him and I had Mass with the Pope. And my little legs were shaking and I was so nervous, but it was just so awesome. I'll never ever forget that. I've got a beautiful photo of me talking to the Pope. That's probably the greatest achievement that I've had in my religious career as a priest and bishop, is to actually meet the Pope. And not only one Pope. So far I've met 2 popes. I'll see if I can make it 3.
This is a bit of an exciting question, but what relics, if any, do you have in your crozier?
Well, actually, it was really cool to use the word crozier, because that's my big staff, the big stick that I have as a bishop. It doesn't actually have any relics in it, like bones of saints, which is what a relic is, which is pretty cool. It doesn't actually have any in my crozier, but in my chapel and around the diocese, there's so many relics, especially in the cathedral. But you want to know the most special relic that I have in the whole diocese? I can show it to you. The most special one I have is around my neck. And this is the special cross that I was given at my ordination as a bishop. And it has a relic at the back of it of the cross that Jesus died on. Tiny little piece of wood there. And it's really hard to get this relic. Only certain bishops have this relic, and I'm one of them. I don't know any other bishop that might be around Australia that actually has one of these in his special cross. So that's the most best. So every time I have this one on, I'm reminded of Jesus on the cross, how much Jesus loves me and how Jesus is always there, so close to me, to help me to be a good bishop. So that's really special. You get to see that one.
Bishop Columba, do you know who you were up against for the role of bishop for the Diocese of Wilcannia-Forbes?
Actually, when you become a bishop, the whole process of becoming a bishop is really secret. It's so secret. I don't know how many other priests they were thinking about being the Bishop of Wilcannia-Forbes, because it's secret. I don't get told. I didn't even know they were looking at me to be the Bishop of Wilcannia-Forbes. The first thing I found out about it was when I was told the Pope's made you the Bishop of Wilcannia-Forbes. And I went, oh! So I don't know. It's a real secret. Do you know what secrets are like? So this is a real secret. So I don't know. maybe, could be 10, could be 1, I have no idea.
Now, this question I'm really excited to find out about. Can you tell us, is there any real gold anywhere in the churches in the diocese?
Well, there is some gold in the really important churches overseas, especially in the Vatican, the Pope's big church. You might have a gold cross and so forth. But most of our churches, all of our churches, things might look like they're gold, but they're not gold, they're brass. But when they're polished up, they look really nice. That looks like it's gold, doesn't it? It's not gold, it just looks like gold. It's just brass too. It looks like gold. We like to have a special look because it's for God. No gold in our churches in Wilcannia-Forbes.
Do you like being the bishop of Wilcannia-Forbes?
Well, I've been a bishop for 11 years now, and I do like being a bishop. The best thing I like about being a bishop is that, hey, to make people happy, all I have to do is go and visit them. I have to turn up, and people are happy because the bishop came to visit them. That's pretty cool. I don't know anywhere else when you can do that. So yeah, I'm very happy being a bishop.
Where was your first mass that you ever said?
My first mass was 28 years ago, and it was the day after I was made a priest, and it was in a little town called Tumbarumba, and that's up in the mountains near Mount Kosciuszko, the highest mountain in Australia. And my order, the monks, we were looking after that little parish, and that's where I was living at that time.
Where did you get ordained a bishop at? Was it here in one of our churches?
I was ordained a bishop in a beautiful little city called Wagga Wagga, which means a place of many crows.
So one of the most asked questions that we have received is about your favourite football team. Do you have a favourite football team?
I do have a favourite football team. It is the Gold Coast Titans.
Bishop, we know that you drive to lots and lots of places to come and see the children. So the kids are wanting to know, what car do you actually have?
The car that I have is a Toyota Land Cruiser with a big bull bar, spotlights, and I call it the Beast.
So Bishop, I know that you are probably one of the only priests in Australia that knows how to play the bagpipes, and you're pretty good at it from what I've seen. But the kids want to know, when did you actually learn to play the bagpipes? Because it's not really something that you see kids doing at school these days.
Well, I learned to play the bagpipes when I was in year 10 at high school in Forbes. I joined the Forbes Pipe Band, and I learnt with a band. So I would have been 15 years of age when I started to learn the bagpipes. I'm still learning the bagpipes.
Did you like motorbikes and trucks like the other boys in your class when you were at school?
Well, actually, I didn't like motorbikes. I like tractors and trucks. Not motorbikes. I used to drive the tractor, and the truck never drove a motorbike. I'm not a motorbike fella. I'm a tractor and truck fella.
So the kids are really interested to hear about your family. Do you mind if we ask you some questions about your family? Where is your family from, Bishop? How many brothers and sisters do you have?
I have one brother, and his name is Vince. And we grew up on a farm, probably about 25 minutes from Forbes, almost between Forbes, Parks and Condobolin, almost in the middle there, in a little place called Bogan Gate.
Now, this is a really cool question. Did you have any family members in World War II?
Yes, I had 4 uncles that fought in World War II, and that was really cool. And 3 of them were in the army, and 1 of them was in the Air Force.
Did you have a job when you were younger?
Well, when I was a little kid, I had to work on the farm, as most farm kids have to do. So you do all the farm stuff. And when I left school, I went and I joined the army. So I worked in the army as well. And one of the things I did in the army, which was really cool, I got to fire a machine gun. That was my big heavy machine gun. And I also taught some music. I used to teach music lessons with my mum, who was also a music teacher. So that's what I did and worked before I was a priest.
So Bishop, you asked the kids a question, and that question was, what can you do to help keep them safe and happy? And the response that we've received has been great. The kids did an excellent job in answering this question for you. They've said that they love the stories that you tell them because the stories you tell them help keep them safe. They love when you go and visit them, and they've actually requested for you to go and do more visits out there in the diocese and in the schools. They love when you play the bagpipes because that keeps them very happy. They find it very, very funny when you play the bagpipes. One child also asked, could you build a website? All in all, they've done a fantastic job in responding. But now I want to hear from you. What do you have to say about the question?
Wow, that's really good that you've actually said in ways that, I can actually improve and be a better bishop, because that's what it is. So I'm listening to those and I'm thinking, well, what can I do? Well, I can continue to go and play the bagpipes when I come and visit and try and do some more visits. Hey, that's important. And just to continue doing those things that I do to make you happy and to make you feel safe and to bring you closer to God. So that's really important that I get to hear that, because I can do things, but if people don't care or don't like them, well, I'm only doing them for myself. But I will here to serve and to do things for you guys. So thank you very much for letting me know what you think and giving me the opportunity to listen and make sure I put it into practice.
Thanks, Bishop, for taking the time to answer these questions. It's so cool to hear that you're open to hearing the voices of the kids within the diocese, as it's such an important part of the work that you do, not only just running the diocese, but listening to what the kids have to say. So thank you again for taking the time in doing this. It's awesome to see how much you care about the kids here.
Thanks, guys, for having me, and a special thank you for those children that provided those really, really cool questions. God bless you all. Bye-bye. Oh my gosh.